Hello and good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. You're joined by myself tonight, GB. In the background you've got our techie team, Fox and Old School Blue, and on the phones the one and only Oxchair. And joining us tonight on the panel is our very own Port Bear. How are we getting on, Port?
Very good, mate. Aye, I am good to be on with the boys. Young team, that's me back in the young team. Officially a member. Is that all right, guys? Can I say it? Aye.
Of course, mate. Of course. We need a young tactician in amongst us tonight, mate, because there's got to be a lot of talking points in that game at the weekend. That's for sure.
Aye.
Yeah. We've been joined as well by our very own JM. How are we getting on, JM?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Good to have you back. A couple of weeks off.
Yes, mate. I have been here, there, and everywhere, mate. And what I say is just picking up wee bits and bobs of the Rangers as it goes along. I don't know about you lads, and I'll come to yourself first, Port. Game at the weekend, it was like, well, not even so much the game at the weekend. The full weekend was like highs and lows, Port. The high Saturday, feeling as though there was a big opportunity there. And then come the game time and final whistle, it's just like a big kick between the legs. And to be honest, I'm still feeling it. The new Porter feels as though it's just been an opportunity missed for us.
Aye, as you'll know, GB and GM, that feeling when you get that boot to the cojones, that wee horrible stomach, that wee feeling in your stomach. I've still got it today, mate. I think it was a massive opportunity missed, mate. I think, no one expected Murrow to get in out of the game at Parkhead. It happened. And, mate, we missed a big opportunity again. We missed a massive opportunity. I spoke about it last time I was on with Hawks, and I said to him, a team that has to look over their shoulder and all of a sudden play them a bit of pressure are a different team, because they've had it easy for a long number of years, not really any pressure, playing with who they want, playing with the handbrake off, free-flowing football, because they've not got a team chasing them. And I felt, even though we gaining 2 points, again, with that game in hand, you think about it, we're starting to close that gap. And a team who's all of a sudden being chased, the pressure builds, GB, and I think we missed a massive opportunity.
JM, again, your thoughts kind of on it, mate. For me, it's just one of the moments that I think, because us as fans have seen times like this in the past, where when you take that opportunity, you do seem to, like Port's saying there, the pressure mounts and you start seeing more mistakes. I think even you've seen it ourselves in the last couple of seasons, especially with that season where Gio took care and stuff like that we kind of collapsed, we having a big lead and stuff like that because the other team took their opportunity. I'm not seeing the season or anything like that was over at the weekend because of the result, but certainly sometimes we just really need to grasp the opportunity when it's there.
Yeah, look, it's definitely, after the result on Saturday, it's definitely an opportunity missed, isn't it? It's a bonus one, you're not expecting it or whatnot. But if I'm to take a glass half full approach, if somebody was to offer me a stalemate that weekend with the round of fixtures, I would have grabbed it and run. And I think, especially with Clement, he's, and these players maybe don't deserve as much, but he's earned a bit of leeway. He's accepted there's going to be a few bumps, and I think we've just got to take our medicine on this one from not a great performance and sort of move on. That result can happen at any season. We've seen good teams or great teams go up there and not get results, and I'm putting it down to one of them days, and it's more about how we react.
Aye, Port, I think that's it. And after a game like that at the weekend, it's just the manager's been saying that he's wanted to see how these certain players react in the tough times, the hard times and stuff like that. And unfortunately for the manager, he's kind of predicted it, and it's came a bit earlier than I expected, to be honest, Port. The learnings and stuff like that, I kind of wanted that to be a wee bit down the line, maybe even get to the January transfer window before he had to have that bump in the road. But like JM says, when you're looking at when the things calmed down, there was nothing lost, nothing gained.
No, it's still status quo. We are where we are. there's no change in in league terms and positions and stuff. But I question the team, Gary, in a sense where anytime we seem to get a chance like this, whether it's to close the gap or put a bit of pressure on, and it's a big important game where we can set to the marker. We had momentum, mate. The momentum was with Clermont in his first 7 games. We looked decent. We looked as if we maybe started to turn that corner. And the thing I'm questioning, mate, is the mental fortitude. Has this team got the cojones when it comes to these pressure matches? And if that's a sign to go by so far, Gary, and you look at what previously went on, every time the question's asked of this squad, the answer's never been good, mate. And I'm not want to be overcritical. I just want to say what I see. That's what I've seen so far. Anytime a pressure game's been added to this squad, I think some of the guys in that squad just don't have what it takes in that heart, mate. In that heart to, answer the questions that all Rangers fans are asking. And it seems time after time they're letting us down and making us, they take us on that ride for that last few games there. We were thinking, right, this is looking a lot better. And then we lost trust in them again because of what happened to the weekend.
And Jim, I think that trust, I think it's because we have been scarred before as well. Like, as Port touched on there, the last few games were like looking at the team going, we're not as broken as what we first suspect. And like I say, there again at the weekend, the team see the result on the Saturday. Surely they're going up there hungry. And to be honest, like I say, we're going up there with good form in that. And again, we'll dive into the game, Jim, but I felt as though we just let Aberdeen play their game. And we continually do that against this mob. We should be up there, right in their faces. I think the last time I actually seen us play really, really well against Aberdeen was probably a couple of seasons ago when it was Defoe and that, and we ripped them apart. And then that first game during the 55 season when we went up there, as much as it was only a 1-0 result, I felt as though we controlled the game. And it's starting to really get to me that the players always recently have allowed Aberdeen to play their own game against us when really the table shows that they're a poor team.
Yeah, is that the one when Greg Stewart scored a hat-trick against them? I think that was a little while ago, wasn't it?
Bring him home.
Yeah, I think Greg Stewart scored a hat-trick, didn't he, in that one? That was, I think what annoys me is, like you say, when you see that result on Saturday, you're thinking to come out. It wasn't like, listen, these results can happen in different ways. It could be a really good game of football. It completely happens. But the fact that we didn't start the game, it was the fact that we looked at some of these players looked like they were still on holiday from the international break. It was the fact that we didn't start. And, if Butland hadn't started the game, we could have been 1-0 down earlier. And so if you argue, it could have been, their keeper made a good save. I know, but it could have been 2-0 before the 10-minute mark. Because especially our defence had just not started. Also, along with certain midfielders getting caught on the ball early on. I don't know what happened, but I agree. I think we're being scarred before. I know there's different players, especially in the attacking sense, and another goalkeeper. But when it's still the same captain and vice captain, certain players sit in the core in that dressing room, you do start to maybe question certain players' attitude or mentality when it comes to having to get stuff done and stringing it together on a specific basis. Because as our manager says, it's a marathon. It's not done over 6 or 7 games.
I think as well, Jim, you're right that, the team was, but when you looked in paper, I was right up for that team because you had Lawrence back in the squad as a starting 11, and you had Cantwell on the park as well, and no Lammers, no Dessers and all that. So for me, I was like, this is probably the strongest team that we've got going up there that can take them on. And let's face it, Big Balogun had been on good form as well, game at Dundee and stuff like that, showing composure. But like you say, it was just very, very lacklustre to start with. And I'm really surprised because they know what Aberdeen gave out in that game.
You just especially think after what happened to us only a few weeks ago with them at home, that you wanted to teach them a lesson, especially leading into a final. Let's show these guys who actually the bosses are here and whatever. But no, like you just said there about the team, GB, it would have been with everybody available. It would have been the team I would have picked, and then obviously we'll dive into it more. But even obviously with Jose Cifuentes coming in, he never let us down, so it would have been the team I would have picked. So just one of those disappointing days.
Port, mate, again on paper, as we've touched on there, the team looked strong, but is it maybe the manager's? I say it's not a criticism. This is definitely not a criticism, but is the manager maybe just flung too many of the kind of big name players back in it in a big game like that too quickly? I mean, like Lawrence and Cantwell have not really had a lot of game time together, and he had a kind of well-oiled machine working. So for me, I was, as much as I was happy with the team after the game, in hindsight, you're like, was it maybe too many changes, or were they forced, Port, maybe?
I personally think they were forced, mate. I think, you had to play, but we had to play because obviously Jack was missing for the middle of the park right away, so Cifuentes had to go in there and play alongside Lundstrom. I think at times there was far too many, like Giant touched on, there was far too many, these strange long passes. They weren't mixing up. For me, they were playing very direct guys and missing the midfield and having played in midfield. If you're starting in the middle of the park, mate, and balls are constantly going over the top of you, straight to the forward line, going over the top of you, straight to the forward line, you mix it up. You try that, you're right, but I felt, and I still feel, that there was a lot along these diagonal passes that Goldson was trying to hit. Tav tried a couple as well. They were completely missing the midfield, and that's why there was nothing coming through the midfield. Aberdeen absolutely overran us in there, mate. I think, yet again, it showed you how, powder puff we are in there at times, because although I thought Graham Shinnie should have had red cards and probably should have seen red eventually, I think, he was kicking everything, mate. And if you don't fight fire with fire sometimes, and get tore in back, then at times we were looking, again, mate, powder puff, very, very soft in the middle of the park. And then added to that, everything was getting missed out. It was getting over the top, over the top midfield, and then it was coming straight back over the top of the midfield. You can't keep playing like that, Gary. You can't keep playing one-dimensional. You have to find other ways of breaking these teams down. And if that means playing through the midfield and trying to cut them open and getting boys to, Cantwell and Lawrence, effectively two number 10s that were hardly used and hardly created in, mate. So I think it was a very disjointed performance, because I felt the two centre-backs were too far apart at times. The full-backs were only getting up. Everything seemed negative, mate. It looked like a Bielesque formation, mate. Just add to that, mate. It looked like a Bielesque pick in a Bielesque formation.
Maybe
the manager's got to come under. Did the manager get his selection right? JM and GB, what do you think?
I say it is easier in hindsight for me, Port, to say it. It's just purely this is because of the Lawrence and Cantwell, the minutes that they've had together and stuff like that. I've no doubt they had moments in that game, and don't get me wrong, Port, it wasn't as much as a bit of a lacklustre game. It wasn't for me like a dreadful performance in the sense that we did have good moments. We did have good passage of play. There was Balogun's couple of headers. There was Lawrence's shot off the bar. We did have moments there, but it's just, for me, I says it was maybe just to try and keep the status quo going in hindsight. But I get where you're coming from, Port, is that some of these changes were forced upon them, and maybe. And we'll come back to it later on. I know a lot of folk are talking about the defence and stuff like that, but maybe the midfield is definitely still an area that we need to look to strengthen, especially, let's say, when we're losing the likes of Raskin and Jack. JM, your thoughts, bud?
What, just in general on the midfield, or just in?
The general game, mate, and just like your thoughts on what Port was asking about the team selection and stuff.
Yeah,
like
listen, I think with a team, it'd be harsh to say on the manager. Obviously, on reflection and hindsight, he's going to say he's got it wrong because we never got the 3 points. But I think with injuries in the spine of the team, it would have been the team that all of us would have picked. Where I may critique the manager slightly is maybe not changing the shape for the whole game. You know, that I'd maybe describe that as, if I'm being unfair, but just going on what Paul said, maybe BLS in regards to we kept Danilo up front on his own isolated against 3 big central defenders, and we're still trying to cross the ball in. We had Seema out on the left, no space in behind him. He's ground to running. He's not like Matonda really when he carries it. He likes to run into space, so he gets a little bit different. Maybe not so much the starting 11 or the starting shape, but the fact that we watched that for 90 minutes and never tweaked it was maybe a bit concerning on that. But that may be just down to purely personnel available to him.
Paul, where I was surprised as well that every one of the teams starting 11, you can probably account for maybe some of them not turning up, but let's face it, see when you go through it, there's Seema, right? Seema's been on good form, so he's been kind of digging us out sometimes. Daniel's been on good form, been digging us out. And then you had Cantwell, again, a top player. You would sometimes think he could dig you out a hole. And then, as you look at the midfield, there's still a decent midfield there. And then the defence, as you said, the previous couple of games, they've been taking any bother. The only probably criticism I would say against the manager is what you've seen with the second half when they put Matondo on, is that Aberdeen, with the hammer throwers they've got in defence, they don't like folk running at them. And I think it was again for wee Ridvan. I mean, the wee man runs at defences and he does scare them and stuff like that. And it only needs him to slip a ball into, like, say, a Matondo or a Seema or something like that for it to create a good chance and a good opportunity to put the ball away. Again, that's in hindsight. I didn't expect Bournemouth to have a shocker like the full team.
I think Bournemouth. I don't think Bournemouth's form's been too great, Gary. Although I think he's been better since Clement come in. I think there has been improvement. I think there's less of the backwards pass and sideways passing. He's been more positive going forward. And I also think that the Seema and Bournemouth, partnership was looking like a partnership that was starting to develop. And I felt a bit sorry for Ridvan as well, because apart from that one game where he got a wee bit, criticism for getting caught under the ball, and if you remember right, Hart targeted him. I'm once, mate, but we spent nearly £6 million in this young man, and I don't think he's the worst fullback out of there, especially when it comes to, going forward. And I actually think he's a better defender than Bournemouth. I think he's braver than Bournemouth is, and what I mean by brave, I think he's better to tackle. I think he's better going forward as well. I think he's quick. Mate, if you remember that goal against Livingston, when he goes like a 40-yard run, goes inside the defender and puts it in the bottom corner. I think, seen a few shots of Bournemouth at the weekend, and I'm like, that's just frustration. That's just desperate. That's nowhere it hits. So just have it 40 yards and it goes miles away. I think we're playing Bournemouth in the last 6 months of his contract, mate. When I really think in my opinion, we should be concentrating on Ridvan and try and get this guy. If we're not going to keep him, we get him in the shop window, and show that he's an asset that we could possibly sell. And another thing, Gary, just to throw into the fire here, Aberdeen, without the 4 points they've gained against Rangers, would be bottom of the league, mate. So we're not talking about a great team here. This team, without picking up the 4 points they've picked up against Rangers, would be bottom of the league.
That was my point, Paul. Like when you have pace and power running at these guys, that they can't handle it, and it was something like I says that we just didn't test them as much as I would have liked at the weekend. And like I says, unfortunately, every single one of them that started were well off it. Like I says, there was periods and stuff like that. When we Ridvan, if we could give him Bonner's left foot, then you would have had the complete defender, and I don't think it would be, as reports suggest, they try and push him out the window. But it is what it is, and the only good thing is we've got a big European game to look forward to, and I suppose that's no for everybody.
Making your way in Europe today takes everything you've got. 60,000 eddies, waste season tickets bought. But maybe you have to win a game in order to progress a bit beyond the second round. We're items left in Europe by Christmas Day.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
And credit goes to Fox for that.
That's going to be Christmas number one.
Oh, definitely. Aye, JM, I like the point that you made, mate. It's a glass half full, isn't it? Again, we can critique the game as much as we want, but there's still time. And as I said earlier, I didn't want the bump in the road to be as early for our manager, but it was a wee blip. And hopefully that he's getting to see the reaction come this Thursday that he's looking for. Especially, let's say, this is the kind of performance. It definitely wasn't the fast pace that we've been seeing, JMA.
Yeah, no, listen, yeah. When I'm saying half, I wasn't obviously pretending. I'm not definitely anything but over the moon if that result comes Sunday or that. And but these things do happen. Maybe he's learning quicker than he would have liked, like you said, about what players he can trust coming to it, and he's definitely going to start to learn on Thursday who's going to bounce back and keep going and then want to do it again at the weekend as well. He's going to learn quickly what players he can trust here now, if you like, the new manager bounce has sort of settled down. So it's going to be interesting to see which players he starts to trust, if he starts putting different players in, or how he's going to approach it.
Sorry, guys.
No, you go, Portland, you go, mate.
Can I ask the Tuesday wee question, and also the listeners as well? It's quite a straightforward question. I don't know if you're going to be a bit harsh here. The Rangers have the minerals. This squad, they have the minerals for this title fight, guys. Yes or no?
Yes.
I would say with a current manager, yes, Port. I think I've seen enough that he could probably match that mob across the city. Aye. Yourself, Port?
Don't doubt Philip come on for 1 minute. I really don't. But I've seen this story before, guys, and every time this team's asked a question, they seem to let us down. And my trust on, not all of them, by the way, not all of them, but there are certain senior players in that team that I'm doubting the credentials and the minerals they have for the fight.
JM, do you know that the thing that I'm doubting is that, see, when you looked at their goal, Aberdeen's goal, right? It was a simple goal, ball at the tap, flick on, and it lands to their striker, right? And you tend to find the new way our squad is that our attackers, if that kind of chance was landed to them, they would either blaze it out of the bar, or they wouldn't have that composure to put it away the way they did. And this is the thing with these teams, that we gave them that one opportunity, and for the rest of the game, they hold on to that. And that's where they're very lucky that these other teams, and especially across the city, they all seem to have that one player that can be a match winner. Now, granted, Tav took a big bottle to step up and get that equaliser for us, but I just wish we could get a hold of somebody. I mean, Lammers has got all the tools at his feet for me, right? But see that chance at the end? See if we had gained that to probably the Aberdeen striker, or even like say a Shankland or something like that, I think it would be buried. I think we'd be walking away there with the full points, and that's what my concern is about the team, that we just never seem to find a guy that's going to be a match winner for us.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a few weeks ago, Danilo put one in for us in 97 minutes, wasn't it? I think when it's not happening, it's easy to say that, especially when, Danilo's still finding his feet a bit, injuries have still not, unfortunately, due to injuries and recruitment, we've still not got a settled 11 and so much a backup striker. I think that's a fair enough comment. We feel like it's not there. So, yeah, I'll take that. But going to GB, and both of y'all, I'll ask you both a question. Obviously, we're saying, they've taken one chance, they've scored the goal. So Who do we feel's let us down at the weekend? If we had to put it to our attackers or our defence, who let us down at the weekend? Because I think a Rangers team should be allowed to concede 1 goal in a game of football. But I think most people, when we're going back to it's the same old, we're picking at least 2 players in that defence. But who do we actually believe let us down at the weekend?
Oh, mate, for me, Jay, I'll go first. Middle to front, I think let us down. I don't think they turned up at all throughout the full game for me. I think I would say the blame mostly lies at their door.
Yeah. Port?
I'm going to go with the same 2 defence, and that's for captain and Goldson. I think Goldson still has to be that senior centre back that organises and is a voice. I've praised him many a times for being the guy that organises and keeps that back line intact. I don't know why we're playing so high. That's why we get caught with that first goal, because they had that flick and then Sorkov flicks it on. And I don't know why we're playing that high when we've got such a lack of pace in midfield. And then the biggest problem for me, guys, like I touched on, they kept missing out midfield. They weren't playing through midfield. It was disjointed. There was no link-up play between mid to front, and there wasn't any link-up play, to be honest, guys, from the back line to the midfield. So it was just going over the top and then coming straight back. So I'm going to blame the defence for their strange passing and missing to midfield, and I'm going to blame. It's not blame, that's a strong word. I'm going to say Cantwell didn't have his best game. I think he's definitely not happy playing out there. And I think he's walking about sulking about it. And I think he has to realise very quickly it's a team game. It's not about him. When I played Giant, probably the same, GB, I didn't care where I played as long as I was on. As long as I played and I gave 110%. You kind of want about sulking when you're not getting get to the player position you want. And I don't think we capitalised on enough Lawrence and Cantwell having 2 10s in the team, because the creativity was very poor. But again, it was because a lot was back to front.
I agree, Paul. James, do you think that the team's got too many players that are similar? I mean, what I mean with that is that I think you could have Lawrence and Cantwell in the same position, Lammers and all that. Like, they all are able to do the same job. But that right side, and I know young McCausland's getting kind of played there now as well, but for what I'm reading as well, that's not even his natural position as well, you mean? And it's like, I think it's actually threw up probably answers, mere questions and answers for the manager at the weekend, because he's probably thinking maybe that the team's actually looking not too bad. A couple of new players maybe will just help bolster the squad. But for me, it tells me that we still are needing a kind of, not so much an overhaul, but we are needing a bit of strength there in defence, a bit of quality in that midfield. Like, I'm talking proper quality, somebody that can actually grab the ball and drive. And then, and like I say, up front as well, we need somebody to support Danilo.
Yeah, I think on your point first, and Port, it definitely highlights the recruitment issues we had in the summer, lack of wingers and whatnot. But because we definitely are at least lacking 1 wide man, if not 2, to be honest, to cover either side. I think on what Port's saying especially, I think Cantwell's going to have to start watching himself. I think he's going to find out quickly that them sort of performances aren't going to last long. He's with the back end of last season, he had a bit of good grace with the Rangers fans. Performed, scored a lot of goals or whatever, but at the end of the day, the season was done when he started to perform. He never turned up in any big games, didn't at the start of the season. And now he's finding it, doing petulant, silly dives, picking up little bookings. And like Paul said, you can say what you like in his natural positions behind the striker or whatever, but the bloke with his attributes, he's more than capable of playing at right midfield, and he needs to stop walking around sulking and start turning it on. Because if you like, I agree, I thought Cantwell was poor. I thought, if you like, he was maybe a 3 to 4 out of 10. Lawrence was definitely the better out of the 2. So Tom Cantwell's going to have to start watching himself a little bit.
Paul, the kind of only defence I've got to that with Cantwell is that, why is it always Cantwell's the one that has to get moved? You know what I mean? If the manager's feeling that he's probably the only one that can do it, then obviously we need to cut Cantwell a bit of slack, but at the end of the day, if it's always him that's getting picked on to get moved out, no wonder he's getting annoyed, because he's probably looking at it that, why is the rest of them not getting a chance shooting that right? Why can I not get a wee shot in the middle?
The only reason, in my opinion, that he's asked to play it there is because he's more mobile than what Lawrence is. I think he's more pacey, he's agility, he's got that trick, go left, go right, but I don't quite think Lawrence has got that same pace, and he's not got that same trickery. So I think that's why they think, look, we'll play Cantwell on the right and we'll keep Lawrence in the middle, because I just think there's the only difference is the mobility problem. That's why I think he's asked to play it there. But like I say, I just think the team for me, guys, and that's after watching them and watching them develop when they come on, and me seeing a massive improvement on the same players that was left by Michael Beale, and me going from thinking we needed major surgery to maybe one or two in January and maybe another two during the summer. No, not a massive overhaul, because I thought we turned the corner. But like you said, Gary, I think we've got too much like for like. Many number 10s we've effectively got. We've got Cantwell, we've got Lawrence, my cousin can get thrown into that. You've got Lammers who can be thrown into that as well. So there's four, and just off the top of my head.
And we've got a guy out in loan as well, Hadji.
And they're five. So how do you fit them onto a team? You simply can't. The recruitment's been a problem. I think, as you said, Gary, and we've watched it on the show, the right hand side's never been nailed down by anybody. I think the boy my cousin has a chance to make that place his own, but it's a lot of pressure on a young guy's shoulders. Shoulders. But I think the problem with that is he's not deemed as a young player now. He's nearly 20, and in football in terms, guys like Wayne Rooney who's burst onto the scene at 16. So in football in terms, he's not seen as a young guy. We're expecting big things for him because he's a 20-year-old lad. Although he looks slight and he looks like a wee boy at times, he's still a 20-year-old professional footballer who's just, I believe, signed another deal. So, I think the boy deserves a chance, because I think he, again, like Cantwell, he has got pace, and he's got, that trickery out there as well, and he's got that youthful exuberance. So I would give that young boy a chance with there, guys, and let him have a wee run in the team. The most of us that can happen.
Well, that's it, Paul. At the end of the day, let's say we've given him a contract now for 4 years, so it's we're not giving him that just to sit on a bench. You know what I mean, so I imagine, let's say, he'll be trying his hardest to try and nail down that position, and if that position is getting nailed down, then we can only either look at the bench getting stronger, whether it's a Lawrence or I can't remember what's sitting on it, but the manager, this is what I'm saying, Jim. I think this is where the learnings will come in for the manager. He'll start to see where they can build a team that's going to be consistently out there, getting that 100% and able to swap out, as you said, Jim, maybe a wee bit earlier in the substitutions for quality. I think even at the weekend, as much as we brought in Rabi and stuff like that, I think we're still just lacking. It'd be great to
it's a throw at a dice, isn't it? By then,
aye,
it's who's fitting that, because obviously he's seen what he's done before and that, but he's still not seen him in a match yet, hasn't it? I think it speaks more volumes that obviously I just think it weren't a day for Danilo. Obviously, he was playing against 3 centre halves. We never made him a clear chance. I didn't think he'd done anything wrong. It was just one of them days. But I think it speaks volumes when your second striker on the day isn't even getting thrown on the pitch. So that highlights another issue. They're playing big lumps, and he's not brought him on. Hindsight is maybe wondering he maybe could have done. I mean, I bet no one was screaming to have him on, but it is a bit interesting that he never brought Dessers on and he left Danilo on for the whole game. So I think that highlights another issue. He knows we're lacking in depth in some areas, but manager's been very clear that this is a process, and he's evaluating everything as he goes up until the transfer window. So I wonder if Sunday maybe left a few more question marks on his sheet.
No, Jay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been getting at the night. That I think, let's say, it's probably been the like as much as we all want it to be all rosy in the garden and stuff like that, like I think it's kind of brought us all back down to earth a wee bit, that we will challenge, but what I say is we can't get carried away. We need to kind of just keep going through the process. I think the manager even says game at a time and stuff like that. And I think, like he says, in time, he will be able to get the players in that he's wanting. But that's a hard thing, Port, isn't it? It's that way that we've not got the millions like all these other big clubs and stuff like that they can go and just spend that 40 million on one guy to change their team. I mean, we're going to have to bide our time with transfer windows now, and like I says, to build that consistency, we need to kind of bring in the quality, but it's going to take time to do that, Port.
That's a fact. The manager has to be given time, because this is not going to be a quick fix. This is, I mean, if we think that you're going to see Rangers doing it and spending another 9 players, say 3 or 4 in January, another 9 this summer, to me that's not worked. I think this has to be a slow build. You know, rather than go and sign 9 mediocre quality, I think, sometimes less is more. Go and find, the top quality. You might only be able to bring maybe 2 or 3 of them in, but I'd rather go for quality than quantity, mate. And I think that's one of the mistakes that Beale made, along with Ross Wilson. I think there were too many were brought in at times of a I don't want to be harsh, mate, of a mediocre quality that weren't going to take us to the next level. So I think it has to be quality over quantity over the next, few transfer windows. And I hope our manager has got his eye on a few rough diamonds that he's seen when his time in France, time in Belgium, etc. Because that's what we need to ask the fans, though. We need to make sure the fans are on board with this and they're going to be patient, because we're sick of these quick fixes, guys. It can't be the quick fix, because one thing it's shown me so far, maybe the manager's not always been a problem. This team has now done this to several managers.
Aye, good point, Port. Jim, your thoughts on that, mate?
I agree with the whole concept. I agree we can't be signing players for the sake of it. The only thing that maybe against that, or maybe a few more than maybe Port was saying, is got to remember a lot of them teams that are on players that are on big wages, and we've seen the senior members' contracts are up at the end of the season. So you had 2 of them start. Is it just 2? 3 of the starting 11 on Saturday. Their contracts are up at the end of the year. Ryan Jack, who's been a mainstay starter since I mean, I don't know if I've heard anything since we've heard he was out, but God knows what's going on with him. He's gone. Roof hardly playing, but big money again. So there's going to be money there for contracts. Maybe we're going to have to look in the free transfer market, because there's going to be some wages freed up. But the only thing why I'd say it's going to have to be a little bit of quantity as well as, potentially quite a few members of the senior squad leaving on frees.
Well, I mean, the two are raising good points tonight, and it would be really good to hear for the callers out there, everybody on the socials as well, get involved. Give us a wee phone.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, as JM says, again, we shop in a market where we've got to be very, very careful with our money, as we've been proving with Dessers and Lammers. And I don't want to keep sticking into them. I mean, at the end of the day, they're Rangers players, and Lammers has showed that he has got that ability at times. I mean, that goal up at Dundee, I mean, you don't score a goal like that if you've no got something about you, but I just wish we'd see it marry him. Maybe it will take time with him, but again, Jim touched on it. Dessers was there at the weekend and doesn't even get involved in that game when it's a kind of hustle and bustle game. He was brought in to be that kind of lumpy wid up front for us, and doesn't even get used. So again, big question marks there. What our manager's seen.
That's a fact, mate. One thing that's concerning me, Gary, this year as well, so far is the senior group. Several captains. I know Cav's a captain overall, but we're led to believe there's a team there full of senior players that are seen as the sort of captain's group to, help players develop, find out what's going with players, in the dressing room, try and keep the manager out of it. Manager doesn't need to be involved in everything. And if there is things going on, these guys are supposed to put their arm around these guys, get them through tough times. That's why the mother worries me. I see some players, I see Lundstrom in Parker-Others, middle of the park. He's formed, right. I still see a lot for him. I've seen Butland being very vocal, trying to organise a back four. I see Goldson doing it at times, but to me, he's off for him. So maybe players, if I was playing, he was one of my vice captains, I'd be tempted to go, sort your end game out, big man, before you're fucking, you're going to criticise me, etc. And in regards to our captain, I just think he has to be a lot more influential in games. Garrett, I think he's playing a totally different role under Clement. I don't think he gets forward half the amount. And is that either instruction or you probably noticed it yourself, guys? I think Goldson looks 10 yards slower, and I even think at times Tav looks, as if he can't get up and down the way he used to. But that could be instruction. So the leadership group, I think, has to be more proactive in trying to get this team, pushing forward. They're supposed to be helping these new players settle in, and some of the players seem to be taking time to settle in than others. So I want to question the leadership group, guys. I want to find out and make sure they're doing their jobs to help these guys settle, because I think some of them are struggling at life at Rangers.
Try him, mate. I'll take it to you, bud.
I think it's definitely can't hide just with the results that certain performances that certain players found it hard to settle. I don't know if that's going to be completely down to the players or the fact that obviously there was definitely not buy-in. Whatever happened between the end, maybe we didn't see it during the build at the end of last season either. Maybe we didn't notice something, but whatever happened between the summer and the start of the season, there was a fallout somewhere, wasn't it? Or people weren't buying into whatever. So maybe that hasn't helped and the whole group's had to reset. But I must admit, since Clements came in, I wouldn't be judging the character of anyone in the squad. If anything, the team seemed to have bounced back quite well. So I think time will tell in that one. But I think it's quite a common thing for us to say, and rightly so, because we've been stung with maybe the character of the team quite a few times with the senior players. But the only way they're going to prove is wrong is they go on to win things and win some trophies.
Paul, do you think that, like, overall, do you think we should probably give the team credit in the sense that they did keep trying to the very end, and we didn't lose the game? I mean, we did get an equaliser out of it. Granted, that's obviously raised a few eyebrows, but at the end of the day, rules are the rules. It was a penalty, no matter what, and why other pundits are getting involved in it, I do not know. But good to see Big Bomber the days putting a few folk right as well. But no, overall, I think I did give credit to the team that they just didn't let the game fizzle out. I mean, there was chances near that end, like I says, we could have probably won the game. And I think we would have probably had a different show tonight if it was a loss and we'd gave Celtic more points at the weekend rather than keep the status quo pot.
But what they done, Gary, they caused their own problems in the first 15, 20 minutes. They were too lethargic. They were miles off it. Aberdeen came out and really put the pressure on us, flying at the tackles. That was a football that I was touched on. They were, fouling constantly, disrupting Rangers' free-flowing football. I thought that looked to me like their tactic was clearly set out to try and not let Rangers get into their passing football. And I think we struggled to react to the way the formation was set up, mate. And I think we struggled to react to the way they started the first 20 minutes. And therein lies the problem. Why do we have to give teams, mate, a head start? We shouldn't be giving teams a head start, because I had the boys in the show last night and it was great points. If we go and score first in the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's a completely different game. Because the minute Aberdeen got that goal, mate, they were trying to steal the game. They were trying to, sat deep, invite the pressure, and they nearly got away with it. But we have to be more clinical, guys, in the first half. If we come out and get that first goal and go blood and thunder, and I've mentioned it on here, sometimes it might need a 15, 16 man, squad, but the team goes out and gives it absolutely everything. Rangers sell it the deck first half to really get this first goal and, change the sort of player style that the teams try and sit in and try and hit us in the counter attack. If we get the first goal, guys, the game completely changes. But as soon as Aberdeen get that goal, they've got someone to hold on to, and then they can hit us in the counter, which they tried to do several times. The guy Sorklew, he was through and goal with a similar move, a ball straight back to front, punt, flick, and he's through and goal to a straight ball between two centre halves. That's schoolboy stuff, guys. That shouldn't be happening. But we're causing our own problems because we're starting the game slow. We go and get that first goal and really put it on teams. It's a completely different game.
Agreement. And JM, do you think, as what kind of Port's saying there as well, do you think that maybe the team went into the Aberdeen game, like, because we did start so slow and stuff like that, thinking that it was going to maybe be I'm not saying we're going to have an easy day, but with the form and stuff like that, did we maybe believe our own hype and we're going in there confident that we're just going to waltz up there and get the 3 points? Do you think there was maybe a wee bit of that wee bit of kind of, what's the word, overconfidence set in?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair to say. Watching it, it looked like it, didn't it? Like you say, I think that's the right word. Maybe believed their own hype and thought maybe they only had to turn up and didn't realise, like in any game of football, you've got. I think Gerrard always used to say it, didn't he? You have to earn your right first and then play your football. He was a great believer in that. Go and win your battles first, and then we can start playing the football, especially away there. Watching that, and I think the problem, just going back onto your point about the team and that's still fighting. I agreed. I was having a conversation with someone and I sort of said a similar thing, but then they said back to me, but how many clear-cut chances did we have? And see, when you think about it, if you were just doing the game on clear-cut chances, what should it have been? If you take a penalty away, obviously, because a penalty is a clear chance, open play, 2 each really, and both of our clear-cut chances came to Balogun. I know the keeper made a good save to Lawrence, but I wouldn't call that a clear-cut chance. That was a good move, sort of open well, wasn't it? And they had 2 1-on-1, so you can argue that even though we dominated most of the game possession-wise, Aberdeen scored a goal and probably had the second best chance in the match as well.
Agree, mate. Port, you, mate?
Aye, that's exactly what I saw it, Giant. I think to say the 2 best chances, fell to Aberdeen, I also think the 2 chances that fell to Balogun, I think especially the first one, it's a free header, he's watched the whole flight of the ball and it's smashed off the bar. That's got to go in for me. That has got to go in. And when we get chances, which I don't think we score enough from set of pieces, i.e. corners, etc., Balogun should have scored, in my opinion, both of them 100%. That one's maybe an 80% 20 chance, and then the Lammers chance, I think if Matondo gets more on it, I'm not being critical of any 2 of them. I think if Matondo gets a bit more pace on it, and Lammers can maybe get a flick, to either side of the keeper. I think it just came at him it was sort of chipped in.
Yeah, I think the Lammers one's a lot harder than it looks.
I
think the fact that he got it on target, as it sounds to you, you're just hoping that the goalkeeper maybe doesn't do something right, but the keeper, to be fair, was stood exactly where he had to be.
100%, Giant. As I said, even if it hits his shoulder, it probably still goes in because then that. But the fact they get such a clean contact on it, it generates as much power as it can. It's on target, so I wasn't critical of Lammers. He got in that position, he got it on target. But I just think if the ball was just fizzed in a wee bit, that header's totally different because he uses the ball's momentum to either put it in a corner or, as I say, it takes a weird bounce off his shoulder or off the other side of his head and it goes across the keeper and goes in. It's because I just felt there wasn't enough on the cross. Not a criticism of Matondo, not a criticism of Lammers. I just think we had chances, especially second half when they really sat in. But the trouble was, guys, we struggled to, try different combinations around the edge of the box, whether it be, with the 2 number 10s when Campbell was on and when Lawrence was on, and then we tried to go wide with our wingers. And then I thought it was strange the fact they took Lawrence, Campbell and Seam off. I found that pretty strange when we were trying to chase a goal And I was actually hoping they were just going to throw Dessers on as well. You're chasing the game, take a centre half off. You're chasing the game, get it on. If you never know what's going to happen. Flood the box, but I don't know. That's my only wee sort of criticism of the manager. I think some of these substitutions came a wee bit late, and some of them were a bit strange for me, guys.
Paul, I agree with you. I think it's maybe because he is so new, and we know these players. Like when he's changing out the three players you just mentioned there, Lawrence, Cantwell, and Seamer, and he's bringing on the boys. Near him, Ross has performed well and all that, but you are kind of a wee bit wet behind the ears. I think JM there, knowing that the way Seamer can be at times, where he can just grab the ball and have a short foot outside the box and potentially score and stuff like that. I was surprised, like I says, he swapped it out so much, considering, like I says, there is guys there that can. I mean, I'm saying about match winners. These boys at times can, like I says, create something out of nothing. I mean, and I think that was just the frustration, JM. Like, we didn't see it for anybody at the weekend.
No, yeah. When I was watching it, to be honest, when I was thinking my change was going to be, I would have kept Seamer on. I wanted Cantwell off during the game. I know we touched on it there. The names I was calling Cantwell, I can only apologise if anyone heard him. I wasn't having him in that game whatsoever. He was winding me up. So I would have had a Cantwell off for McCausland. And I think at the time I would have tried to get Seamer in next to Danilo, and I would have put Matondo out on the wing. Obviously, I'm not really, having Des or that at the moment. So I would have maybe just pushed Seamer into the middle, and that would have been my changes. But don't know if maybe the manager's still doing it, but he did say when he came in, especially at the start, a lot of his selections and changes are going to be down to fitness and recovery. So I don't know if that's still playing a part of it or not, if he's still doing it all based on numbers, because obviously he's been heavily critical on the whole fitness of the team in general, the squad. So maybe that still has a little part to play in it as well.
Do you guys? I'm going to ask you a question. Do you guys think he's still in the period where he's still trying to figure out this squad and figure out these players to what he actually has, or do you think that's over now? Do you think he's already realising what he's got to work with, or do you think he's still looking to see what he can get, as i.e. the best out of these guys, and where he could fit them into a position where they can offer the team more, or do you think that sort of honeymoon period's over?
I think he'll have an idea of who can play where. I think he's more trying to. I think he'll be trying to suss out the attitude of these guys now. Obviously, it's all right talking a game and that in training, and I think he's wanting to see who's got a mentality to play for us week in, week out. I think he'll have an idea of who can do what where, but it's about doing it for us on a Saturday or Sunday.
Do you know, Port, before the Aberdeen game, I thought he had it sussed. I thought it was done and dusted, like you says. I thought the honeymoon period was done and we're on the road. But I think now that after Aberdeen, I think he'll still be looking at the squad, and as JM touched on, he'll be looking to see who reacts, what kind of the attitude is in training and stuff like that, and who's going to, like I says, the good thing is in the next couple of weeks we'll be playing Aberdeen again, and I think he'll be looking for a far better performance that day against them. He'll be wanting to see a lot more control and the football that obviously we've been seeing recently back in that game.
Well, he's got the European game on Thursday, so he's still got a few games to look at them. These players, in my opinion, should now be starting to, try and show some sort of form, because they'll all want to play in that cup final, guys. Let's not beat about it this year. They will be they're playing for a place in that cup final. They'll all want to be part of that. So I think what these guys should be doing, having played the game myself, that's what I'd be desperate to do. Regardless of how my form was, I'd be making sure my form was getting up to scratch so that I made that final. Because that final for me, guys, sets down the marker possibly for the rest of the season. Because again, what I keep saying is I want them across the city to be looking over their shoulder and being worried what's coming behind them. Because like I keep saying, teams play different under pressure. When you've somebody get chasing you, you're constantly over your back, and when you slip up, there's a chance, Rangers could capitalise. And I know what you're going to say. It's not happened yet. Every time we've been given the opportunity, Hibs as well, they dropped points against Hibs, we never capitalised then either. You know, so realistically, this gap could have been shortened, you know, a lot better than it is now. And that's us still including our game in hand, and we still got to go to Parkhead. We could have put ourselves in a great position, but we failed to capitalise, and this is where my frustration comes, lads. I don't want to miss these opportunities and get to the end of the season and go, what if we did pick them points up at Pittodrie? What if we did get that result against Hibernian? And then you think about Christmas Eve, we go to Motherwell. That's another toughie, guys. That's another toughie ahead. You know, so we've got games where we're literally getting to the stage over this Christmas period that we can't let points drop too many games, mate.
No, JM, even like the show at the weekend, and obviously last night's show and stuff like that, you can hear in the calls and you can hear in the panelists the frustration, and I think a lot of frustration comes because I think we all know we're that close to getting it right. If you mean that it's just small margins, I think that as Port says there, if we can just get that consistency, like say again like at the weekend, if we went up there and started to show that we can just grab that opportunity, and like I says, we missed opportunity weekend, but this cup final coming up, these next games, even the game on Thursday, they've got to go out and grasp that opportunity, because if they win that on Thursday as well, that's basically them. That seems cemented it. You mean there's no coming back. There's definitely got to be European football there, and like I says, they can hopefully push on and maybe even tap the group. You know, I mean, there's opportunities there still to be had, and like I says, I think as fans we just know that they're nearly there, and I think the frustration comes because like I says, we just keep getting let down, but we know that they're better than what they're showing sometimes.
Yeah, and also I think the fact that we know, even though there's a table, obviously they say the table don't lie, but there isn't a golfing class in the competition. I think me, you and Robert got a bit of stick for it on one of the early shows when we dropped points early in the season, and we said obviously we're in a cup. I think we're in the cup semi-final. We go and win a cup. If we can progress in Europe, if we can stay within touching distance, you know, it's a good start. Clement would have maybe set similar goals when he came in, get to the final, win the cup, make points on the competition, which we have, and get through in Europe, which we're very close to doing. So we've got to really take the positives and look at it, and this is why our manager's still trying to learn about his squad and find out who the best players to be, and also getting over a lot of injuries. So there are some positive sides, but I think some of the regulars and guys that have been with us just need to now prove us wrong and show that they have got the mentality to go and do it.
Well said, mate. Well said. Right, it's time for a refreshment, and we're going to have a tune.
All along the walls of the Ibrox halls are pictures of legends of old, making history for the world to see. The stories of glories unfold. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever, and for always, we are Rangers through and through. Well, the legends come and the legends go.
you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers for that, Fox. Nice wee tune again, wee toe tapper. Boys, we back, I take it. Or I hope.
Yeah, all back. Don't know where he keeps finding his tunes.
I know that library must go on and on and on and on. Port, you back, bud?
I'm back, bud, mate. Yep, all ready to go for the second half. Where's these colours, guys? Where's these colours?
Oh, they'll be with us. Maybe they're just watching some games that are on the telly tonight. We never know.
No, I think we've got a lot of ones that like watching EastEnders and all these programmes, you know what I mean? And they would sit and patiently waiting. I'm a celebrity, I know, you know. Come on, Rangers fans, where are you?
Well, as Port's touched on, we'll do some housekeeping. First of all, just condolences to the McCorry family. Relent Stewart McCorry passed away. So obviously we send our condolences for Rangers Radio. Last Beer Standing is back this weekend. There was a wee bit of Stewart's inquiry for last weekend, so anybody that put their money in for last weekend, it will be carried over to this week. And there is a bigger pot because there was a rollover for the last outing for the international break, because there was no winners. So there is a bigger pot to play for, and let's say half goes to our charity and half goes to the winner. So if you want to get involved, contact the Techie team. You can either messages or you can send us an email, and we'll give you the ways that you can contribute and get involved. Alrighty. Right, lads, I think obviously we gave them a bit of a bashing there for the first half, and rightly so. We're all obviously a bit gutted the way it planned out, but end of the day, we're still in the title race. We win that game in hand. I think Southside touched on it last night. Win that game in hand, it's down to 5 points, and it still means that would you call it, that Old Firm game's still just as important. Well, every game's important, but again, it still leaves that Old Firm game at the turn of the year that it's still important to get the 3 points and make it a right title chase and put the pressure on. Jim, your thoughts, bud?
Oh, this was 100% still a title race. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, points on the board. If I was in the position, points on the board are better. Of course they are, but a game had 5 points. It's nowhere near done yet. A long time ago, I think. Unfortunately, for as well say it, both teams are going to drop points between now and the end of the season. Hopefully, we improve, but I think both teams have shown that. I don't know if that's to do. I don't think I'm going to give the rest of Scotland any credit for the competition. I think both will maybe look to up their standards over the next season or so. But no, there's definitely still a title race. I'm 100% still in it. And to be honest, still think we'll peg them.
You make a good point there, mate. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think the quality of the Scottish League this season so far has been abysmal. And granted, we've had ups and downs because of changing managers and stuff like that, but you think about that first Old Firm game and stuff like that, that's like another game that we probably should have had in the bag. And again, I think Port, this is where the frustration is coming, mate. It's just that says we know we're better, and if we just get a bit of momentum, we'll be able to grab a hold of this title race, mate.
I'll never ever give this title race up, mate, because I don't think they're the greatest side over the side of the city. I made my points quite clear how bad I think Aberdeen were. As I said, they would be bottom of the league if it wasn't for the 4 points they picked up against us. And the rest are ranked rotten, mate. And I tell you, a wise man always says the same thing in here time and time again. If Rangers play to the standards that we've seen them play in the Europa League against some strong teams, you know, nobody should touch us in this league, guys, and I still strongly believe it. I really still strongly believe when we're at our best and we're on top and we're playing at the best of our ability, I don't think there's a team in this league that can live with us. I really don't, and I'm not just looking through my boat-tinted glasses, guys. I strongly believe, you know, we're the strongest team in the league.
Port, I agree, Jim. That's the thing. Port touches on the European form and stuff like that. Like, we don't beat Sparta Prague who are a right good side. I mean, I bet you if they were in our league, they would wipe the floor with a lot of teams in our league. It's just we're a very Jekyll and Hyde side.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this team plays, it's the best team in the league. But I think the one thing, and again, keep going back, I'm going to be blaming this man for years still. I can't stand that bloke, Bill. But I think, again, we've let ourselves down. I think we've been like this for a number of years, to be fair. Not only Bill, but I think because we don't have the pace to blow teams away. So we've got good technical footballers, we've got tidy footballers, we've got clever footballers, but I think the problem is these other teams, when they throw in a couple of young Scottish lads in there, they know they can match us for pace. And that gives them edge. They're not scared that we're going to run away from, apart from Matondo and now obviously Seema, who's a lone player. We don't have anyone in our squad that's going to run away from anyone else in these other teams. I think that's the one thing that lets us down for being consistently dominant.
Aye, well said, mate. Well said. I'll just jump in now. I think we've been joined with William. You there, William?
Good evening, brothers. Long time
How
no
we doing, bud?
Must be about 24 hours.
No. We must stop doing this, mate. We must stop doing this.
Aye. Well, see, you've got that many jobs, you know. I just keep catching you.
Aye, that's it, mate. Jackie all trades, they call me.
Aye.
Used to need to stop meeting these dodgy car parts, GB.
No, not at all.
That's a Port Glasgow. That's a Port Glasgow thing. We don't do that in South
William, what was
it? Robertson car park. I've heard about you. Great, you're in it. Aye. Aye, guys, you're up against it tonight. There's a lot of games on. I heard that a team called Lafio, they won a Roman derby earlier on.
Oh,
did you hear about that?
Yeah.
A team called Lafio. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They won a Roman derby, 2-0. Aye.
Aye, William, I did notice there was a couple of banners today that were to our liking, I should say.
Aye. I heard it was great fun at the airport today in Italy. Half the Scottish-Irish Roman folk get sent back home because there's no tickets for the game, so they get sent back home. Aye.
Do you know what's...
Oh, dear.
That's my Italian cousin at the customs. He's doing a great job.
Aye.
So he is. Watching Man City here. The start of the game, Man City against Leipzig. Start of the game, 13 minutes in, Leipzig goalkeeper, he's just outside his area, kicks the ball all the way through to the wee striker. He's just 2 yards in the Man City area. In the Man City half, he runs through and sticks the ball in the net. Did you ever see
simple football?
Like mm-hmm. Did you ever see
simple
a goal
football?
Like that? Mm-hmm.
That's it, William.
2-0 to Leipzig.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the goal and I thought, my God, if that can happen to the Man City defence.
All I'll say is, guys, a lot of this, William, JM, a lot of this team that we've got put RB Leipzig to the sword. You know,
that's right.
And they're down, and the team's pretty much the same, guys. They've lost a couple of other big stars, but the team's pretty much the same, and they've added real quality to it. So it wasn't too long ago we put this team to the sword, and they're sounds like what William's saying, they're doing very well against the best team in Europe, in my opinion.
The wee man up front scored the 2 goals, and he's got too much pace for them. I thought, wow, I've seen that before. That somewhere before.
Speed kills, William. That's one thing I think Jerry and GB were touching on it. That's one thing your team severely lacks is pace. And you know, in football in terms nowadays, you look at all the modern teams throughout Europe, all the teams in the Premier League, Spain, they've all got flying machines, whether it be fullbacks, you know, somebody from midfield breaking through, and wingers. Pace, speed kills, guys. And we've, you know, Oxchair's touched on it many times on the show. We made a mistake by not purchasing fast wingers, because now we have to play a certain way because we've not got any width in our team, natural width and natural pace.
Mm-hmm.
Massive part of the game, guys, in my opinion.
Well, hopefully McCausland might make a wee difference here. Yeah? He's got pace.
I think what William's saying is, talking about the goal, and especially on Saturday, that it can happen to any team, can't it? A lump up the park and the defences just get caught short. caught with a little flick, just caught out ones. Can happen, especially when we're pressing high in that. But I don't know what our defence is thinking playing that high, because we're not as quick as these Man City defenders.
Correct.
Paul, do you think that as well, like, we're maybe, let's say, too gallus? Like, we're probably not expecting, let us say, Aberdeen to be clinical, but it just shows you, let's say, that these guys that these teams are signing now, that they have got a bit of technical ability about them, and this is what we need to watch now. That, like, let's say, simple football, boy at the tap and bang, you're running behind. And as we know in the Scottish League, Port, that if we get the first goal, then it's uphill for them. But if they get the first goal, then it's a long slog for us usually in the league.
That's sort of touched on in the first half, mate, and this is where I think your team could really improve. Go out and give it blood and thunder. Thunder into tackles, blood and guts. Give everything you can for the first 60 minutes, and if Clement has to change it, and we've managed to get that early goal, goals change games, guys. I don't care what anybody says. If we get that first goal against any of these teams in Scotland, especially, they can't sit in, especially when they're at home. And I'm a big believer as well, even at Ibrox. I don't know why we need to play with two holding midfielders either. I think we should be playing with one holder and let the front, basically six, just go and flood the box. I don't know if he's noticed this, guys, at the weekend. I don't think we've enough players in the box at times. The furthest player I've seen a lot forward was Cantwell. It was always sometimes like Danilo was playing like a false nine, and I couldn't understand it. Danilo was dropping deep to get involved in the game because the wee man was getting no service. He was running about like a headless chicken at times. And I think that's one of the biggest problems as well. We didn't get enough players in the box, as well as missing it in midfield. There's no service, no creativity.
William, your thoughts, mate?
I think that's why he didn't bring Dessers on, because it wasn't a game where you could cross the ball into the area, because as Port says, we never had enough players up there. So Dessers would have been in there against 5 or 6 giants. So there was no point. That's why I think he put Lammers, because Lammers is merely a ball player. And he was hoping he could maybe beat a couple of players and get a shot in. As opposed to bringing in Dessers and hoping we can cross the ball in, because we just couldn't. We couldn't cross the ball into that. There was just red shirts everywhere.
Agree.
They only had 5 shots in the entire game, 5 shots, and they scored with the 3rd shot. So after they scored, they only had 2 shots in the whole game. For about 90 minutes, they only had 2 shots. So their plan for me was they just wanted to get a goal, and then they were going to sit back and defend it. Same as Hearts.
Right.
Hearts at Ibrox. What was it, 3rd or 4th minute? Shanklin scored. Remember the header? And then they just sat back, and we had to suffer. We had to suffer that for 90 minutes till we get that goal in 91 minutes, and then we beat them. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to win on Sunday.
Jim, do you think that's why we were kind of a wee bit maybe lacklustre to start off with? We were trying to kind of game manage the game and just kind of like ease ourselves into it, because they knew that, like it says, they'd be lumping balls and there'd be tackles flying in probably left, right and centre and stuff like that, but it probably shot ourselves in the foot a wee bit.
Yeah, maybe overthought it slightly, because if you compare that to the way we started the Dundee game twice, I mean, even the first minute or so before the flares and that went off, Ryan Jack went in down there and got steamed in, whatever. Then obviously we had the break, and then considering we had all the hassle of the coach and whatever, the traffic beforehand, that was the game I was worried about us starting. And we came out absolutely flying, and like Port's mentioned, got the early goal, and that settles the nerves completely. But then this game seemed to be the complete opposite, and you thought the writing would have been quite on the wall already. I mean, it's no secret how Aberdeen are going to try and play against us, especially at Pittodrie. But whatever reason, whether it was a tactical idea, I don't know, the team thought we were going to try and settle and get our foot on the ball, or if we just got caught cold with how aggressive they were, I don't know. But something happened that meant that team didn't start properly.
I agree, mate. I agree. Right, well, look to Thursday. I know the boys tomorrow will touch on it, but Thursday, I think the team's got to look pretty different in a sense, because the defence itself, I think Golson, am I right in saying, suspended? So, and I don't. Davis and Suter, were they on the bench at the weekend? I can't remember. But you would imagine.
Davis, wasn't he?
So we know Suter's all right then. So Suter's probably got to be coming in for for Goldson, you'd expect Porter?
I don't. I was trying to look for some information today, mate, on Davies, and I'm led to believe that he's not injured, mate. And it could be a possibility, because all you're going to have is Balogun, possibly King, Davis, and Suter. So he's got. I think young King he's not played for 12 months, mate. So I don't see him even getting a sniff. He might be on the bench. So that leaves you Suter, Davies, and Balogun. So it's going to be.
I don't think Balogun's in the squad. So I think we're left with the Bear 2 and King. Right, I don't think Balogun's in the squad. No, I just had a look there myself because I wasn't half sure before I was going to mention Leo, and I don't think he's in the squad. So I think like you said, if King's not played, and I don't think Sedemir, I think we've only got 2 centre backs available, and they'll be the ones playing.
Yeah, I agree, Graham. I totally agree. And
which, to be fair,
and obviously due to Mr. Beale again, the left back already picks itself as well, which is great.
Aye, there's no accountability there, JM. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, anybody that put a performance in like that the weekend would probably be dropped for the following game, and but we're going to have to just go with it, aren't we?
Yeah, it's a chance for him to right a couple of wrongs, shall we say? But we know our back four, don't we?
And then on paper, Port, it's if you're saying that Suter, Davies, Borner, and Tav, it's not a bad defence. And then you've got Big Butland as well.
No, they should definitely, guys. Let's be honest. There was a golfing class between your team and Limassol. That's a fact. We never turned up that night. We never turned up at all, and we get beat off. In my opinion, not even a decent junior team, mate. I thought they were very ordinary, but we were so poor. You know, we made them look better than they were. I need a bit of pace up front, and it seemed to give us a bit of hassle. But we owe this team one. That the Rangers players owe themselves one as well, because they cannot simply. This is an important match, mate. We win this, and that's us. Europe after Christmas. We cannot afford another slip up against this team, mate. We owe this team one, and I'm going to be honest, guys. I think we'll put them to the sword, and I think it could be a 3 or a 4 against them, because that's how bad I think they are.
I agree, William. I think it's a night that we can start getting back on the horse and building that confidence back up, mate.
Absolutely, because we cannot be as bad as we were in the last game against that lot. We cannot be that bad. It was just terrible. I've got an idea for our defence. I think, seeing how Seema was pretty poor at the weekend, and then sees how that goal we lost, I'm going to put Seema in as a sweeper. I'm putting him sitting behind the defence. What do you think of that, guys? He's got height, he's got pace. Huh?
He's good at headering the ball back from corners as well. He always wins a couple of headers. Might be on the something.
He's actually good. He's good at left back as well, by the way.
Oh, there you are. He can go.
He could drop Borner, couldn't he, and say, "See me playing left wing back again."
Well, the way Borner played on Sunday, you never know. He might not be fit. He might be out with a sore backside with big Philippe kicking it. He was poor, wasn't he? He was poor.
The thing is, well, though, I think JM, the manager, what I did like is, see, after the game, they were all trying to bring out the negativity and all that, and the manager was like, no, like he was quite happy. He was like that with the positivity, and he was one thing he wasn't going to do was tear up everything that he'd built. I mean, that just shows you that we have got a good manager. Don't get me wrong, as William and Port have touched on, he's probably behind the scenes giving them a right rollicking, but when he's in front of that media, he knows how to manage them, JM.
Yeah, not overcomplicating or anything. Make it clear, obviously, disappointing. Made it clear as well that he thought we deserved to win, which is fair enough. Of course, over the piece of the amount of ball we had, we did deserve to win the game. There was only one team trying to play football. I know we discussed the clear chances and whatever, but not overcomplicating, not doing that. But then I liked his line about, at the end of the season, that could be a valuable point. A little cheeky one, just a reminder that, there's a long, long way to go.
Aye, it is Port, isn't it? That's the thing. There's that many games when you're a Rangers player. there's a good opportunity that you can right a wrong. And I says for Thursday night, for me now, it's up to us to go out and put a performance on. Hopefully a full house as well. And I says, I think, if, like you says, mate, if we turn up and we play the way we want to play, then we should wipe the floor with them.
Aye, he's never going to... He always gives me the impression, guys, he'll find the best out of any negative. And I think the way he spun that, by saying, hold on a minute, that might be the absolute reverse of what you're trying to put across you. You're trying to tell me that's 2 points dropped and that could affect us winning the title. But what was the other way about? I still think they'll drop points throughout the season, and I still think we might drop points as well. Fact, right? 'Cause I don't think the twos are playing any consistent great football. But that 1 point, like he touched on, might be the point, up at Pittodrie that we managed to, get. That could be the point that wins the league. So I think that to me, that's like motivational speaking. That's him saying to that team, right, in the dressing room, I'm going to give you big licks, but let's make a positive out of negative. I will drop too, but that point could be so vital at the end of the season. So I like, I spoke to you privately, I love Philip Clement's philosophy in football. I love the way he carries himself. I think he looks like a proper Rangers manager. He reminds me, like I've said, and I know this is high praise, in the early stages, the way he carries himself, the standards he sets. He reminds me a lot of Walter Smith and other previous managers like Graham Souness and that, who've got that stature, that aura about them, he takes no messing. And he's a footballing man. He knows football inside out. He's been doing watching the Colts. He's been away any match he can get to look at youth squad. If you look at him in Aberdeen up at the weekend, he was out on the park before, watching the guy doing the warm-up. I love seeing that. I love seeing a hands-on manager because that's him leading for the front. A guy that I would love to play for, a guy that makes you sit up and go, well, if he's out here and he's shown interest in me and he's, really focused in the game, that's the manager I want to play for, guys. He's so hands-on. And I love his thoughts and his ethos on football, and so far, what I can see in the early stages, without any Clement's own players, is once he starts gelling what we've got to his own standards and his own players, you're going to see a further difference and a further improvement in that squad, mate. This is just the beginning. This is where we have to keep coming back to and remembering. This is only the start of Philip Clement's era at Rangers.
Aye, well said, mate. Well said. And William, another thing to add to obviously with the discussion with Clement is that he's moved quickly with McCausland. He's came straight in. It's clearly been highlighted to him about his contract, and he's gave the boy an opportunity. And I think that bodes well for, like say, our youth system as a whole now. I think a lot of the youth will be looking at that and seeing McCausland playing in big games, Europe, etc. You know what I mean? And I think hopefully it will make our youth system hungry to push for a starting place now, because they know that there's a manager there that's willing to give them a chance as long as they show it in training and show the right attitude. William?
I think that's it. I mean, he's got a world of experience, there's no doubt about it. And being in different countries, that also helps. Dealing with different egos and all the rest of it, and different nationalities, it's all just different. It's all a great experience. And he really knows the job outside in. That's the way he looks. As Paul says, he's got an aura. He absolutely does. And he's super cool when he's dealing with the press and that. They try to beat him all the time, and he's just got all the answers. And I think, you're right. It's great. That does say to the youth players, hey, I'm going to push, because there's a lot of. If you look around the world, there's a lot of good 19, 20-year-olds that are playing in the first teams. So the chances are there. These boys have just got to push themselves. And as you say, they see McCausland getting a 4-year contract at Rangers. How many Irish boys would give their right hand for that? Millions of them.
And JM, he's became an internationalist as well. You know what I mean? So, that's just added to the completion for the boy.
I think also, didn't he get the bump up after he got a start for us, didn't he? So I think he was originally called up to the 21s, wasn't he? And then after that game at Livingston, he got a bump up to the first team, didn't he? So it shows him that they perform and they get on the stage. Rangers being shown on Sky most weeks and also on a Thursday night, and it's a way to showcase yourself, isn't it? I mean, how gutted was it? I feel sorry for the young lad Lovelace. Obviously, he was getting the shout ahead of him originally, wasn't he? In that position, mate, and unfortunately got himself injured. So, but this also might make him hungry to get back fitter and to show, right, okay, if he can do it, so can I. And then suddenly there might be your wingers, one of the answers to your winger problems.
Oh, Jim, that's what I was going to ask Paul. Paul Lovelace, I'm sure you've seen him as well playing in that kind of striker role as well. So again, that's an area that is up for grabs because there is certain people out of contract coming up. So it could be a chance for the likes of Lovelace to kind of step into that position.
But what it's showing me, mate, there's under Clement, there's definitely going to be a pathway. And John Bennett touched on, a player trade model has to be better. And how great would it be when you're maybe going to promote Ian McCausland 4-year contract? If he goes on and shows the ability that we've in the early doors that we've seen, the creativity, the pace, the confidence, the swagger. I'm even going to throw Alex Lowry in, mate, because I hope he does finally get his attitude sorted out and looks at McCausland and goes, I was ahead of him. I want to get back. I hope he's got that mentality. I want to get back ahead of him. I was in front of him in the team and now I found myself behind him. You've got King, who again, I think, a guy that had a pathway first. I'm still doubting he's a centre back. I think I would like to see him try and hone that sort of, Declan Rice role in front of the back four, a typical CDM, central defensive midfielder sits in front of the back four. Clement's showing a pathway, mate, and these are the best way we can make big bucks. If these boys can reach their full potential, it costs us nothing because they come through the academy. We can maximise profits, mate, and you see a big, massive turnaround if we can get these guys to the top potential and sell on in a few years because we can maximise profit. Because, as I say, apart from developing them, that's all it's going to cost us, mate. Development fees, which we've put into them over the years, because we'll absolutely maximise profits. And we're led to believe there's a lot of clubs through, in the Premiership and in Europe looking at McCausland before he signed that contract, mate. So there is a pathway for these guys to get into the Rangers senior squad.
And that's the sad thing, William, isn't it? That we've got to develop and sell well so that we can actually strengthen our first 11. Because the money, as we've seen for the Scottish League, is terrible. And we're the only ones in Europe holding up the posts as it stands now. That we're the only ones that's got to be able to showcase the Scottish game positively come Thursday night. So,
see, the thing is that the only team that don't need the money, they're the only one that's benefiting out of the state of Scottish football. They don't need the money, and they're running the show. We know they're running the show, so they don't care. They'll run Scottish football into the ground because they don't need the money. So they don't care about how bad the sponsorship deal is, how bad the money for Sky is, and they all seem to vote along with them. I don't understand it. It's like turkeys voting for Christmas. Your Dundee and all the rest of it, all this carry on with Dundee. They're all siding with them, and it's all these bad decisions. I mean, everybody knows they've got the money, and they all voted for the 5 subs, which suited them right down to the ground.
Mm-hmm. I know.
One or two other things, it just suits them all along. I mean, just see how bad they are. When they get to they don't have a Scottish referee. You see how bad they are.
Jim, I think that's the thing that for us that we've got to, let's say, keep doing well in Europe and try and change the status quo that's happening in the league. And that's why, let's say, it's important that we bounce back for the weekend. We take it as a learning, and like I says, we push on to this cup final and obviously, like I says, Thursday night to keep ourselves in Europe.
Yeah, unfortunately, other teams have benefited from us doing well in Europe, and it's set it up. We've got ourselves to blame maybe slightly after 55, not doubling down to get that Champions League spot. you get that consistently for a couple of years without qualifying, we would have been maybe in a slightly better position. Obviously, as we know, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have, 10, 15 million to spend on a couple of players each time, but it leaves you in a far better state. But we've just got to keep conducting ourselves like we do in Europe in the Europa League, and then get back to dominating domestically as well.
Oh, you want to come back in on that?
It's just so difficult for us because, as you said earlier, the league's rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. There's only 2 teams in it, and they're not even very good. And we're playing so many teams that will nick a goal right at the start. They'll all out try and steal a goal, like your Kilmarnock or Hearts, Aberdeen, and then they'll just sit back, and it's just garbage. And I think that was the ruination of Ryan Kent for me. I think our league ruined him. That boy was a good player when he came to us, and he got a big boost playing in Europe. We had a great run in Europe and that, but our league just ruined him, because every time he got his head up with the ball, there was 3 players running about him, and all he could see was defenders. That's all he could see. It just absolutely ruined him. And our league is garbage. And as Albert was saying, we keep getting these pundits saying, "Oh yeah, you've got to give great credit to Aberdeen. They're so well organised." What? I think our manager after Sunday, he's saying to the players, "Guys, you know something? If you take the first 11 minutes out of that match on Sunday, hey, we were pretty good." I see in the BBC, they're saying tonight we had 11 shots on target. I think, at the start of the season, I think we've got to be honest and say, right, where can we drop points? During the season, we know we're going to drop points here or there. And there's 2 places we know there's a good chance we could drop points. Torby Towers and Pittodrie. We just know that. It's so difficult for us at Pittodrie.
And that's where we need to get better, William. And actually, you bring up a good talking point about the Ryan Kent, and it'd be good to hear folks' thoughts on that. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, we're just running into the kind of last half hour. I want to take the kind of Ryan Kent point to Port, and I'll take it round the rest of you guys. Port, there is rumours. Your thoughts on Ryan Kent coming back to Rangers?
I don't like getting back doing the old roads, mate. I think it's time under Clement for new heroes. I want to see Clement's guys coming in. Ryan Kent gave us nothing over 18 months, mate. I know it was great at times for us, but the inconsistency for me over the last 18 months, and sometimes, in the big games, big influence, showed some moments of magic. I'll never forget that. But I've just got a simple saying, mate. It's time for new heroes, Clement's heroes, mate. I don't particularly like going back the way. It never seems to work out after, the second time round, mate.
William, your thoughts on Ryan Kent, mate?
No, I wouldn't take him back. No, I think we've seen the best of him. We had him at first. I think we saw the best of him, and he's been ruined. I think he's been totally ruined with our rubbish league type of player he is. And I think because he was young, and the worst thing is with young players, I used to do a lot of the youth development games and that, and you see that their heads go down. If they make a mistake, their heads go down. That's the biggest fault with young players. And the coaches have got to get them back up and say, just forget it, it's gone, it's done. Get on with the game. And it's so difficult with young players. That's their fault. They take it all to heart. If they make a mistake and it costs a goal, or if they miss a good chance, instead of just saying, right, get on with it, I'll just go and score. We'll score another goal, blah, blah. What's done is done. And it's all part of experience, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. No. Jay, I think as we're seeing with another player that left us, the grass isn't always bluer on the other side. With Alfredo posting Instagram photos and all that of the 55 season and stuff, and then we've got rumours of Ryan Kent. I mean, why he chose to go out to Turkey is beyond me for the level of talent that boy had. And now, if rumours are true that he's thinking about a loan move back to us, and if we're thinking about it, for me, I think as we've seen, we need to be smarter with our signings, and I don't know. He's a quality player, but I don't know if, as William touched on, I don't know if we're going to get that quality player back.
No, it's a tough one. As in, I don't have any reasons to not trust Clement. You know, obviously this maybe just papers off a rumour, so if it was something he was thinking about, you know, you'd have to back him. But if it's just me, it'd be a massive no for me. The bloke down tools, he was awful for a month. I mean, I think Dessers has already got more goals than he got for us in his last season. So what does that tell you about the bloke?
that's so true.
I mean, Dessers has already got more goals than he got for us. So why we're considering the bloke completely down tools and awful for a year, and then even just the way at the end. I mean, you've got your traditionalists. I'm not asking for Kent to show up in his last game in a full blue suit or whatever. You know, it is what it is. Times have changed, but just the way he was doing that last lap of one at the end of the game, the bloke couldn't give a toss, really, could he? Like it or not, we've got to accept that the bloke had made his mind up and moved on and down tools. And again, I think speaks volumes to Michael Beale, the fact that he continued to play him constantly until the end of the season and all the big games as well.
I agree, mate. My thoughts on it is the ship has sailed, and like I says, I thank him for the times that he did give us, like I says, 55 in Dortmund stand out for me. But I mean, coming back to Rangers on loan is poor. I just think we just need to be smarter. We need to now start, if anything, we need to start looking within our league to pick up talent within our league, because at the end of the day, Port, all we need to do is take care of the dross and focus on beating a team across the city, and the title's won. And as season's gone by, when you look at McLeish, you look at Walter, even Advocat to a certain extent, I mean, we picked within our league, we picked up guys that were decent and done a job and scored goals, and that's what it all comes down to. As long as you put that ball in the back of the net, then you're on your way to winning silverware.
I'm going to be controversial here, mate. Do you know who I'd rather see at Ibrox than Ryan Kent?
Who's that, mate?
And I think he'd offer a lot more. Martin Boyle for Hibs. I know Bridge is going to hate me. He would want to spend money.
Bridge is going to hunt you down with a stick.
I can sense it now. My door will be going tonight. My door will be going tonight. But I think Martin Boyle has shown domestically, we don't know what he'd be like in Europe, but he's a goal threat, he's got pace, he's got an eye for a pass. It's everything we've not got in my team right now. And I know people have touched on Shankland, and there's a few boys on last week when I was on, I was talking about the boy Kingsley, the centre-back for Hearts, the left, sort of, he plays left-back or centre-back. He's got a great left peg on him, great set pieces. I just don't like this snobbery we seem to have, mate, about not saying domestic players. And Martin Boyle, for me, would offer a lot more than Ryan Kent, in my opinion.
Mate, I'm going to take it round to the boys, and I'll go to William first. But William, is I don't know where this snobbery's creeped in, because, like I says, when you look back, I mean, Kevin Thompson came for Hibs. We had Chris Boyd. You know what I mean? To a certain extent, we got Naismith. We had Kenny Miller for Hibs as well. I mean, it's who else was that?
Alan
we had Billy Dodd, Stevie Thompson. You know what I mean? We had Novo. You know what I mean? Christ, we had I mean, like I says, there was title winning guys in there, and I just don't know where this kind of things creeped in that we can't sign within a league. And I know that, like I says, they treated us badly, like all these teams that we're talking about that were going to give money for players, and when we went down and stuff like that. But like I says, the way that we won titles before was building within our league. William?
Ryan Jack, he was good when he came to us at first. So they got a few.
Aye, well, that's right. Aye, Ryan Jack as well.
Cards, but you know, that's just the way it was. You know, with that, you know, that was the way it was. That's how it's been with our team with referees. You know, it's been murder. But I think it could be somebody in the board of directors that thinks that we can't sign Scottish players because they're not good enough for Europe. Maybe it's that. They're good enough for the Scottish League, but trying to get a balance. Let's just not bother buying any Scottish players. Let's just buy foreign players, and then they'll do it for the Scottish League and the European games. But it just doesn't work like that. I agree with what you're saying. I think you see the likes of Shankland. He's good in our league. We should have had him. He's a Rangers man. We could have had him when he was at Ayr United. What I hear is that the talk in the street is he was desperate to come to Rangers. A couple of times he's been desperate. And I think he still would. I think he still would come.
No.
I don't know if I missed the best of him, but I don't know. I think, what is he, about 30, is he? Is he as old as that?
But that's when they're usually in their prime, mate.
Scottish game. You see him, I think he's pretty good. And he scores goals wherever he goes.
I'll take it round to Jim as well. Jim, do you get a feeling that it's just is it a snobbery thing, or is it just our recruitment hasn't been on point? When like I says, there's been times, as Williams touched on, that we could have probably had Shankland on a free. We could have probably picked up Ferguson. I would have thought probably pre-Aberdeen, it could have probably picked him up then. Even to a certain extent.
Yeah.
There's a few others
that's
kicked in.
A hint of snobbery, a hint of, people getting these jobs in the scouting departments or whatever, maybe feeling they have to justify it being fancy, going out into European leagues or whatever. I know if you go maybe as early back, if you go to Greg Docherty, Jordan Jones, I know Brandon Barker was a City boy when he on loan at Hibs, Hasty, I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but there was a few that didn't work. Maybe it became a consensus that it just wasn't going to work. They weren't going to be up to the standard we were. But that's why these scouts are paid the money, aren't they? They're meant to spot them. They don't always work. As we know with transfers from Europe, they don't always work. At least if you're signing a Scottish boy or, at least a guy playing in the league, you're getting someone that understands it, getting someone that's played week in, week out. There's definitely pros to it. And I'd like to think if the quality's there, we need to go back out to signing it a bit more. I mean, I can't lie to with the rubbish I've watched in the last year and a half or so that there's many players standing out to me in the Scottish League, but it's up to the scouts to find them.
Well, I think it's just in the kind of the sticky games that you can go to your bench and bring on a guy that can do a flick of a header or can just be clinical, like we're saying with Aberdeen. They've got that one guy that can actually finish a ball. I mean, he might not do anything else the rest of the game, but if you give him a chance in front of goal, 9 times out of 10 he'll probably put it away. And this is where, like I says, I just think we need to be a bit smarter.
Look, I'm not saying that guys like Martin Boyle and Shankland would rip up in Europe, right? I'm not saying they're that level, but they're untested, mate. And you wouldn't believe when players are playing among players of higher quality, but we're led to believe that's at Rangers. Some of these players thrive in that sort of area because they're playing along different players. They're training with them every day, so their levels improve because they're becoming better players. And like I say, Boyle's a massive impact in the Scottish League. He scores goals, makes assists. He's dangerous. I'll just give you the cup final he tore us apart in. Just to use that as an example. Shankland's been consistently scoring for all the teams he's played in the Premier League. But I'm a great believer in if you're training and playing with a higher standard of player week in, week out, your levels get better, your levels raised. You know what I mean? And I just think domestically, I think they would do it for Rangers. But could they make that step to, European, Champions League level or Europa, where I think their level is? Who's to say they wouldn't, mate? Who's to say they wouldn't?
No, and I mean, when you look at even our youth of the night as well, it was similarly a dominant performance, and we hammered Partick Thistle 6-0 in the Glasgow Cup the night.
Performance and team performance.
As that technical guy there jumped in and said,
it's no victory in the Glasgow Cup.
A small victory. It was 6-0. But
6-0, half a dozen.
Aye, that's it, mate. Again, we're showing promise, and there's talent there. And I just think, like I says, William, that if we're a bit smarter, and William, for me, they're low risk signings. See, when you're looking at what we spent on Dessers and Lammers, right? They hem to them, but like some of that money, we could have probably chucked away maybe 2 million on, like, say, a Shankland or something like that. And if it didn't work out, then it's not the end of the world. You mean? But when we're spending 4. And it's not working out, then it's a heavy bash on the budget.
It is, and I think you're right when you say that it looks like he wants to encourage the youth because they're not going to cost us anything. If we bring through our own youth players, that's the whole idea of your youth setup. It's supposed to be. It's not something we've been great at over the years, but he's a kind of, this guy we've got now, Clement. He's a certain type of manager I might not have had, or this European experience he's had. He's been all around Europe, and obviously he was a player. It just gives you the idea that he knows what he's doing. I mean, Sunday there, we made so many chances, we just couldn't get the ball in the net. So I don't blame the manager. I really don't blame him for Sunday. We went up there hoping we were going to murder that lot, and they're rubbish, and we should have. But we just couldn't get the ball in the net. It's just one of the days, and it had to be against them. I'd rather have done that against St Johnstone, I'd rather have 10 or 11 shots in the target against St Johnstone and come away with a draw as that lot. We want to beat them every time because they're just rubbish and they know it.
I'll just cut across you, bud. I think we have got an interview from the Cup tonight, so I'll let folks play that tonight.
Gosh, a hat-trick, 6-0 victory in the Glasgow Cup. Just sum up your emotions.
Yeah, I'm really happy. It's a good result for the team, good individual performance and team performance. So yeah, overall, good performance, good win.
Just talk us through your 3 goals because they were all quite different. The first one, probably didn't expect it, but second and third, really cultured finishes. Yeah,
first one I just try to get something on it, turn it towards goal, and then second and third just try to get my shot off quick as possible, cross the goalie both times. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was only last month that you scored your first goal for the B team. You scored twice with under-18s in the Scottish Youth Cup, and obviously you've bagged a hat-trick tonight. Just sum up the last month or so for you.
Yeah, well, it's been really good. I've been scoring goals everywhere, to be honest, so yeah, I'm happy. Especially with the cup game for us as well, and for the B team, just scoring goals, happy, yeah.
Yeah, and you've been exposed to some senior football as well, playing against the Ardrionians in the SPFL Trust Trophy. How much do you enjoy just sort of continually testing yourself at a higher level?
Yeah, well, it's a good challenge playing against people older than me. Just keep trying to improve, especially that can help my game a lot as well, playing against people that are older and better than me, so yeah.
Yeah, and you've obviously coupled that with involvement at international level with Wales under-17s. How much is it about sort of keeping your feet on the ground and aspiring for more international opportunities as well?
Yeah, look, I'm getting opportunities to play against some of the best teams all over the world. So yeah, just try to keep getting call-ups and doing as well as I can when I get there.
Yeah, and obviously in terms of the Glasgow Cup, that's now 2 wins in the competition, and I guess it's a good launch pad going into the rest of the tournament as well.
Yeah, just keep trying to get results in it. Especially if we can keep getting 3 points, we should come first in the group, which gives us a nice game for the semi-final. So yeah, we're doing well.
Brilliant edge, I am 16-year-old and out there banging the goals in. Hopefully Clement's got a wee eye on him as well, and it'd be nice to see a proper Rangers striker make it into the first team.
Yeah, good to see. It'll be a great night for the kid, and hopefully you just keep his head down and keep improving. But I'm sure he's going to remember this one for a time, and good to see that he's representing. Well, did he say Wales there?
Yeah, he's Welsh. Youth team international. So
yeah, well, good to see him.
Promise.
Yeah, good to see him at least getting to represent the country and playing against the best players, his age around the world as well. So promising signs. Good to see. The youth team's promising. It's just hopefully, it's not easy to get youth players through. They're not all going to get a game, but as and when, and hopefully the right ones, we can start getting a couple more through.
That's the thing, Paul, isn't it? It's just it's timing, isn't it? We've touched on it tonight. McLaughlin gets a 4-year deal, couple of games started, and yet we all thought like Lowry was going to be the one that would probably get a run in the team and go to great heights, and there he's out and loan to Hearts. I'm sure come January the manager will be looking at all the loanees out there that we've got and kind of analysing whether they've got a future at Rangers as well.
score a hat-trick at any level. At his age, mate, he's done very well. And that'll be great for his confidence. You know, and like I touched on earlier on, Philip Clement is showing a pathway. And as you said, he will be keeping a close eye with his scouting team. Not just on players that can be bought, but the squad that he's already got, the Colts, the guys he's got out on loan. He said it's a clean slate for them all, guys. So, you know, every one of these players, whether it be youth, senior squads out on loan, they've all got a chance, mate, and he will give them game time. I've no doubt about that.
The only thing, William, that we are up against is that when these boys are showing promise at that age and stuff like that, then as we've seen with other Scottish teams and even teams down south, is that the likes of these academies, Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City to a certain extent, they come in and it's eye-watering money that they can offer these boys at such a young age that maybe that let's say it's too good to turn down at sometimes.
Billy Gilmore's that boy. He was a Rangers diehard, but Chelsea came in. I think he was 15 or 16 when they came in, and the money they offered him was unbelievable. It was crazy money. The boy just couldn't turn it down. Even the signing on fee, but the money we're offering every week for a 15 or a schoolboy, he just couldn't resist it. And that's what we're up against. We can't even compete, I don't think, with the Championship in England.
Aye, with some of the wages it's get flung about. That's, you're right there, Jamie. I think that's the thing with the youth and stuff, that it's just you can't blame them for taking the money that's out there. But we just have to kind of provide that pathway and make it clear that there's going to be opportunities there for them to develop in the right surroundings, not just go down to the academy and just warm a bench. There will be times where they could be called upon in the first team, and like I say, European nights are very special at Ibrox.
Yeah, you got to hope you're appealing to sort of, if you like, the footballing nature of the people, individuals. Everybody will be different. Does also sort of make you wonder, doesn't it? Are we only going to end up being left with the ones that the English Premier League clubs don't want? Because of it, to be fair, we've taken advantage of it as well, haven't we? The cross-border thing, where you don't obviously have to pay. You know, even I think we've done it back in the day, even with Windass and Crooks, didn't we? And using other things. So you know what I mean? Like, you know, we do it as well. You know, it works both ways. Bassi, was that another one? We done it with Bassi, didn't we, as well? Did we get rid of, you know? So we do it as well. So we can't moan. So starts to make you think if the whole thing's worthwhile. Any of the good ones will just be taken anyways because of the rules. But you're just hoping that you appeal to like I know because it's not as young, but you know, if you believe in rumours that are true, there was offers from European clubs around, but he's wanted to stay. He's had a taste of the first team life in Europe, and he's wanting to stay. So hopefully we can appeal to a few more of them.
I think the only thing it can help Port is that it can be a long career nowadays as well, isn't it? If you look after yourself properly and the way these boys would get all the nutrition and all the sports science stuff, and you can probably bide your time at a club like Rangers and get experience. Let's say there's not many clubs that can offer European football every season and stuff like that, and challenging for titles, having heavy pressure on you and stuff like that. So it is a good grounding, and like I say, they're probably looking at it that if they did want to move on at any point, then they're still going to be young enough that they can do it.
I couldn't agree more, mate. I think that's one of the things, and one of the biggest reasons I think they sent Lowry. I think they decided, look, maybe because it was went on, there's some documented stuff, we don't know if it's true or not, but maybe they thought for his development, the best thing to do was to send him out to another Scottish, team. Or even if he went to the Championship, it wouldn't have bothered me either way. But I think he definitely needed games. I think he's got quality, and I think that's what Rangers should be looking at. Try and get a network of players, or a network of teams, whether it be Championship or the Scottish League, the Premier League, that we can, send players out to and get them that development under, playing the proper man's game at the highest level we can get. Because I think what you're getting a player back that's, played football, he's playing senior football, and that only benefits Rangers. And if we go down there to these clubs and they make a name for themselves, who's to say the club doesn't come back to Rangers and go, look, can we get an option to buy? And, Rangers can name the price, because at Ibrox, as you said, they're training with these guys in these senior squads, and they're getting, the best training facilities, they're getting the best nutrition, they're getting the best development. at Ibrox, and it's, you know, we're a well thought of club when it comes to developing players. So, you know, sky's the limit. As I said earlier on, mate, we have to make this trading model work for Rangers and utilise Auchenhowie to the best of our ability.
That's it. Fine. Well, we went it. We're in a good place. We had that weekend again, a wee bit of a disappointment at the weekend there, but we're still there in all competitions, William.
Aye,
we've got a decent
match. The season, it's one of the places we know we could drop points, and it's not as if we didn't make chances. We made plenty of chances. It was just one of the days that we couldn't get the ball in the net. Our keeper was everywhere. He was like an octopus. He was everywhere, and when he wasn't there, we were hitting the crossbar. It was just one of the days, and it had to bloody happen up there, you know. Couldn't happen to St Johnson or something. You know, it's so frustrating. And we were going into the Old Firm game, where we thought we're the big favourites. They're rubbish. We can really take them. And it was the same, you know. Cast your mind back to the Old Firm game where we lost 1-0. We had 18 shots in that game. We only had 3 in target. I'll say that Clement he's improved the shooting, because on Sunday we had 22 shots, 11 on target. That's 50%. That's a big improvement.
It's definitely been up time.
Even under, see if you go back to even under Gerrard, we were getting like 20 odd shots. We're only getting 3 or 4 on target, maybe 7. 50% for us is a big improvement. So I think he's been working on that. I think he pays attention to detail, and obviously, it's a big detail. It's a very important detail. Shots to shots on target ratio. You got to get it as high as you can. Shots on target as high as you can.
Well said, mate. Well said.
A lot of work in there, you know.
It cut across you, bud, because we're nearly at that wrap-up time. JM, mate, your final thoughts?
Yeah, well, enjoyed it tonight, even though you obviously rightly so. I think the team got the bit of the criticism they deserved for the match on Saturday, you know, dropping points, but still all in all positive. Looking forward to Thursday and just hoping to see the team bounce back.
Port, mate, your final thoughts, bud?
Aye, mate, I think, you know, the critique was fair in the first half of the show, but like we always try and do, we always, you know, as we critique the team, I think we're always fair. We always try and, you know, try and take the positives out of what we've saw and look forward and under Cologne. Just like you say, thanks to yourself, mate, and JM for having us on tonight. Great wee show, good to be on the young team. And thanks again to all the listeners out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Well said, mate. Well said. Right. I just want to do a thank you to William. Thanks for phoning in, bud, and that's his giving us good talking points tonight, mate. Much appreciated, and look forward to hearing you again soon, mate.
Aye, well done, GB. You did a good job, you and the guys. You did a good job as usual. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of calls tonight. You know, but there's a lot of football, and I don't know what. It's all about the Rangers for me, you know.
That's it, bud. Right. Thanks to JM and Port Bear for being the wingmen tonight for us. Big thanks to the boys in the background, the technical Fox and Old School Blue, and a big thanks to Ox Share on the calls tonight. This has been Rangers Radio. You'll be joined by the A-team tomorrow night and talking about all things Rangers. Have a very good night.